is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. You must feel the Force around you.
I'm not afraid.
That is why you fail.
Hey Star Wars fans, and welcome to Daily SW Collecting. This is maddwoba. I was recently asked by the founder of SW Collecting to do an interview, and graciously said yes. Josh is one of probably the better reviewers on YouTube as far as I'm concerned. Very knowledgeable as far as in depth with the movies and with the vintage and modern figures. So it was a real honor for me to be asked to do this. I'll show you just a little bit of my collection. I have a complete collection update video that I made a while back there. I'll see if I can get Josh to post a link in here if you guys want to take a look at that if you hadn't already seen it. I have quite a few of my figures displayed. Not all of them. You know, you can't have everything out. I live in North Carolina, and my wife is gracious enough to let me have just a few things on display, so you can take a look at some of the things I have out. Okay, here's just a few things that I have on display. This is an indoor battle pack. And here are all my vintage Kenner figures. And here's a mixture of just a very few Power of the Force and the new line of vintage figures, vintage collection. I recently built a few dioramas, and this is one that I have on display in my glass cabinet. This is a Tatooine blockade scene. And here's my Jabba's palace scene. And my Power of the Force Ranker. So that's just a few things that I have on display upstairs. Okay, question one is, how long have you been collecting? I was a collector more or less right from the beginning. I knew as a child, even while we was in the stores, you know, growing up in the rural South here in the late 70s, folks just really didn't have a whole lot of money, so it was a real treat for me to be able to go out somewhere with my parents and have them to buy me one of these Star Wars action figures. And even then, I knew that there was really some important significance behind these figures, so I was a collector right from the get-go. What is your favorite item in your collection? I would have to say it's a tie between my vintage Millennium Falcon and the new AT-AT. The Millennium Falcon for me is just holds just tons of memories. Hours and playing with it. I can remember as a kid growing up, it was it could hold just about all my action figures. Lots of memories, and it's beat up too, and it's broke, and the battery compartment doesn't close, and the sounds doesn't work right, but still, that's my favorite I would have to say out of the vintage stuff that I own. And as far as the modern stuff, it'd be the newer AT-AT. Endless play value, giant play set. Even as for collectors, it's just an all-around great item to have. Question 3. What is the most valuable or rare item you own? That's a really tough question. Again, going back to the Kenner figures and all of the vintage ships and action figures that I have, I would say that those are the most valuable for me. I can't just separate one item from all of them, so I just compile them all together and say that the most valuable for me would be all of the Kenner figures and the ships that I have from the first wave of figures that Kenner made. Question 4. Most of our team members only collect Star Wars items. Can you introduce us to your Shogun Warrior and other collections? The Shogun Warriors was a line of toys manufactured by Mattel in the late 70s. These giants were 24 inches tall. That's 60 centimeters. Came with shooting projectiles, rocket punch fist, missiles, endless play value. Nothing was no better than being able to shoot my older brother right in the face with a giant fist. Highly collectible. Now, within the last 16 months, these the toy prices on eBay for these have just skyrocketed, and I really don't know why. I really do enjoy this line of toys. I'll have a link in the description to an update collection video I recently made of this with my youngest daughter actually doing a little weapons demo. Maybe I should have had her wear some safety glasses, but we still had fun doing it. So guys, be sure to check that out as well. I also collect Marvel Universe figures. Now this line is really, you have to really be careful about picking these out. The paint apps on some of these are just terrible. The larger figures seem to be the better ones out of the line, but this is only half of the ones that I have. I've took out the lower shelf for my Star Wars scene. I do rotate them around some to keep it interesting for me. Question 5. Why do you collect toys? That's a really good question. I collect toys just for the memories. I think it keeps me young. Like I said, you know, I've still got a lot of my toys from the late 70s. And a lot of the newer stuff I just enjoy buying to make comparisons to the stuff that was made in the late 70s and 80s, and it just gives me a good feeling, and I really do enjoy it. And I really do enjoy the YouTube community that also collects the toys as well. Question 6. Do people think you're crazy for collecting toys? Believe it or not, I've got that a few times. But you know, people collect different things, and everybody, regardless of what they tell you, do collect things, whether it be pocket knives, action figures, all the way up to cars. I went through the gun phase many years ago, and I have a few guns left, but nothing like I did back in the late 80s. And my brothers recently started collecting guns. I even know a man that has a room, a big room, completely full of pet rocks. Now, for those of you who don't know what pet rocks are, there was a craze in the late 80s. Someone would take a rock, put Google eyes on it, and put it on some type of little stand or base and write some kind of little comical suggestive note on it, and that was it. And I do know a person that has a room completely full of pet rocks. So yes, people do think I'm crazy. Being a big, overempowered big tough fireman. The way I respond back to it, for the people that do know me, I just tell them it keeps me from killing folks. And the people that know me just instantly start laughing, and laugh for somewhere around 2 or 3 minutes. Now, for the people who don't know me, when I tell them that, they just get a stunned look on their face and turn around and walk off. So either way, it's a conversation ender. Question 7. Tell us the age you were when you first seen Star Wars, and why do you collect modern toys? In May of 1977, I was 8 years old. My family, and it was just mother and father and me and an older brother. Not every weekend, but every other weekend, they would try to take us to a drive-in movie theater. Wasn't really into movies then, you know. We always just took food and a few toys, and we always sit out either in the grass and eat, or usually sit in the back end of a pickup. Didn't really watch the movies, but as soon as Star Wars came on, it was, you know, everybody remembers that iconic scene of the Star Destroyer coming over the top of everybody's heads, shooting at the smaller ships. So I was hooked instantly. Really a life-changing series of movies for everybody, I think. Probably one of the greatest stories that's ever been told. Why do I collect modern toys? Recently, it was around, I think it was 2007, we recently moved after living at the same place for somewhere around 20 years. And, you know, when you move, you find a lot of things that you forgot that you had. And I found a lot of my toys. Now, being out of not buying anything for many years, I started going back and looking at some of the Star Wars stuff, and some of the import anime die-cast stuff. I also collect a few of those too. But going down the toy aisle right before Christmas last year, 2010, I noticed that they had some old vintage cards of the Star Wars. So that's what got me. And actually, the first figure that I bought was a Darth Vader from the newer vintage line. Question 8. You are active in the YouTube community. Tell us your thoughts on YouTube reviewers and why you started your channel. I really enjoy watching other folks' channels. Not necessarily Star Wars, but mainly Star Wars. I really enjoy watching a lot of the reviews on the die-cast import anime, the robots, a lot of stuff from Japan. Why I started my own channel, believe it or not, it was just to have a quick access to a lot of fire training videos. Didn't really realize that it was going to wind up being like this for me. It really has humbled me with some of the great friendships that I've made here on YouTube. The reason I started my channel wasn't about showing toys or making friends, but it really has turned out to be that way. And if I knew it was going to be like this, maybe my username would have been a little bit different. Question 9. What can we expect to see on your channel in the future? A lot of the same. I plan on trying to keep up to date with a lot of the modern vintage line figures coming out, and I still find a few vintage figures every once in a while at flea markets and yard sales and different places like that. So I'm just going to keep it about the same. Not really into changing, no big productions or anything coming up. Hoping to quit saying and every other word. Maybe I need to write a script. I don't know. Question 10. Do you ever plan on selling your collection or stop collecting? No plans ever for selling anything out of my collection. I do trade things often, but that's not in my personal collection. That's misleading for a lot of folks also. I do get messages just about every other day of the week wanting to know if I'll sell this or trade this, but I never sell or trade anything out of my personal collection. If I find some things at flea markets or yard sales, that's usually what I will put up for sale or for trade. As far as stop collecting, I think that there's going to be a point. You have to be realistic about everything that has to do with collecting toys or whatever you collect. There's going to have to be a point to where you have to cut back or just stop altogether. And mine is going to definitely be cut way back from what it is now, and that's probably going to be at the end of the Vintage Line series for Star Wars. I don't see the point in buying things and packing them up and not being able to play with them or look at them or display them. So, and I think that's true with a lot of people, especially that's limited on space. There's got to be a certain point that you get to where you either have to cut back or just stop altogether. So, my journey as far as starting back collecting in 2010 was seeing the new Vintage Line figures on the store shelves in Walmart, and actually rediscovering a lot of my older toys when I moved in 2007. So cutting way back will probably be happening here before long, but actually stopping, probably not, but cutting way back is a definite yes for me. Guys, that's it. I appreciate everybody watching. If you got any comments or questions, just post them and I'll answer them the best that I can. And Josh, I really do appreciate the opportunity to get to do this for you guys. And thanks for watching.